and welcome to Revision Log 2.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about how to use flashcards for your revision. When I was studying for my GCSE'S, I used flashcards a lot because you can test them yourself, you can get other people to test you at home, you can get your friends to test you in school, you can carry them around in your pocket, you can keep them at home, they're really easy to use. Now you can use flashcards for any subject, but I'm going to show you some flashcards to use for Romeo and Juliet for English because I taught it last year so I know it quite well. There's lots of different varieties of ways to use flashcards. So we're going to start with character links. So for example, on the front of the flashcard you have the name of the character, okay? And then on the back of the flashcard you're going to have who they are linked to and how they're linked to that person. So I've got Romeo on the front, and on the back I've got who his dad is, his mum, his wife, his cousin and his best friend. As you can see, it doesn't have to be particularly neatly written, it's just for you to use or for someone at home to use. So you can test yourself and looking at it and writing it down or thinking it through in your brain and checking. Or somebody else can hold the answers, like I would be doing now, and you would tell me who the links are and I would check it off on the back. Okay, so that's your first one, character links. Plot. So it's the same kind of idea. On the front, I've got Act 1. And on the back, I've bullet pointed the 5 key things about Act 1. Now obviously this isn't in detail. For your exams you're going to need to know more detail than this, but this is a good place to start when you're first looking at an act or at a scene. So the act on the front and the key points on the back. And again, you can self-test. You can get somebody to test you, you can write it down, you could do a mind map of everything you can remember, and then you can check it to see what you know and what you don't know. The third one is the character profile. So what's important about this character? So on the front I've got Juliet, and on the back I've got the key features about Juliet. So I've got beautiful, intelligent. Juliet is described as being the sun by Romeo. She's bright, romantic, brave. She changes after her meeting with Romeo. She becomes more independent. She defies her parents. She's impulsive and passionate. She's very young. She's not 14, but she's determined. She has a lot to cope with, and she's loyal and moral. And then you can take this further. You could think of examples of when she is these things in throughout the play. Make notes to yourself. So this is a character profile. What are the key things about each person who is important in the play? Then I've got key themes. I've chosen honour. In Romeo and Juliet you've got honour, you've got family, you've got conflict, you've got violence, you've got romance and love. I've chosen honour. And then on the back I've given some examples of honour. So parents are expected to honour their parents, especially the father. Wives are expected to honour and obey their husbands. There's religious links here, as people were expected to follow the rules of the church. For example, marriage, you're expected to get married. Suicide, you were not to kill yourself, that was a sin. Verona at this time were expected to obey the prince. These are all important in Romeo and Juliet and linked to honour. And again, you have the theme on the front, you have the information on the back, you can self-test, somebody else can test you, you can write it down, you can mind map it, or you can just read through it, have it in your pocket and read through it. And I've got other key bits and pieces that are important. So in Romeo and Juliet, dramatic irony is really important. When the audience knows something the characters don't know, and this adds suspense. This is really important in Romeo and Juliet because it happens a lot. And Mercutio doesn't know why Romeo won't fight Tybalt. The audience know it's because Romeo is married to Tybalt's cousin Juliet. And then Act 4, the Capulets are happily preparing for Juliet's marriage to Paris. The audience know that she's taken the potion and the Capulets are about to get a horrible shock. Okay? The last thing I wanted to tell you about is a different use of flashcards that I used a lot in my physics GCSE. In physics, when I did it at GCSE, it's the same now, there was a lot of content, a lot of things you had to learn, a lot of formulas. I found that quite difficult. So I made flashcards. These are one-sided flashcards, and I stuck them up around my house in places that I saw a lot. So I had one on the front door, on the inside of the front door. I had one by the loo. I had one on the fridge. I had one as you come down the stairs, and they had key pieces of information on that I saw every day. I used it for key quotes. So, Tybalt is aggressive. Here is a quote that tells us that. Talk of peace, I hate the word. And then if you have that somewhere in your house that you see every day, it will not be long before you remember it. Slightly different because they need to be stuck up. You can carry them around and read them, but the idea behind it is if you see them regularly enough during your day, you will remember them. They're my top tips for flashcards. Come and see me for more information.